In this presentation, I will be going over the various aspects that lead to ocean stratification. My name is Chase Fernandez, and I'm an undergrad student at the Dolphin Island Sea Lab. So there are a number of causes that create ocean stratification. Some of the more prevalent ones being salinity, or the amount of salt in the ocean, temperature, and oxygen levels. Some other types of stratification are light and turbidity. I will not be going over these in depth, but light is the amount of light that is penetrating the ocean, and turbidity is the amount of sediment that is floating in the ocean, creating less visibility, and this is caused by wave energy and runoff mostly. So the first type of stratification that I will be going in depth in is salinity. Now, where there is abrupt change in salt concentration, it is called the halocline. For example, the graph on the right shows the halocline at 500 meters, where there's an abrupt change from the water above it. So the water at the surface has more salt because of ocean evaporation. Now, as the sun evaporates more water, it leaves behind the salt, which creates a more saline environment, or a higher saline concentration. Uh, Contrary to that idea, freshwater runoff also causes a saline stratification in in the way that freshwater is on the surface of the water, so opposite of the graph. Freshwater runs in from a river and it settles on the surface, and the saltier water is stratified below it. Another type of stratification is temperature. Now, the abrupt change in temperature is called the thermocline, and temperature decreases with depth, mostly because of the air warming the water and the sun, but also because cold water is denser, and it tends and higher density water sits below the lower density water. Now this creates the thermocline. Uh, the last main type of stratification that I'll be talking about is oxygen stratification. Now this stratification can be horizontal or vertical and mostly relies on primary producers. Now primary producers could be seagrass, they could be phytoplankton, which creates 50% of the world's oxygen. Now the stratification depends on where these organisms are located. So for example, there could be higher oxygen levels near the bottom where there's more seagrass, or higher oxygen levels where there's more phytoplankton at the surface. Now, as a summary, uh, all these stratifications mix together. There isn't a part of the ocean that, say, has only a temperature stratification. There could be a temperature stratification where there's colder water deeper, and a saline stratification in the same area where there's uh, more salt at the surface because of evaporation. Uh, you know, one natural implication of stratification is upwelling, which is a mix of the water columns. And upwelling is actually good for life in general because it mixes nutrients, but doing so, it also mixes stratification and makes it less severe. Uh, Stratification usually dictates biomass because organisms rely on certain nutrients, oxygen content, and saline concentrations to live. And some organisms like a more saline environment, so they may live at one variable in the stratification. And uh, stratification is a natural process. You know, it's not something that is caused by global warming or any uh, outside event that humans may be causing. It has always been around, and life has adapted to stratification. And in some cases, stratification is a good thing. So this is ocean stratification, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.